Okay. First of all, I would like to pay homage to the Buddha, who is the enlightened one, the exalted one. And may I pay homage to the Dhamma, which is the teaching of the Buddha, and to the Sangha, who are the noble one and the disciples of the Buddha. Good evening, everybody. Welcome you all to Monkchat Facebook Live. And dear all friends and all audiences who are following Facebook Live and also live stream on YouTube in the same time in this moment. So we are here once again to run this Facebook Live as Monkchat Facebook Live to provide you Dhamma discussion and also provide you some Dhamma talk, which is going to be some knowledge and the beneficial for you and the people in the society to apply and get the benefit from the teaching of the Buddha to improve your life quality. So first of all, I would like to introduce my guest speaker today. So I have invited two monks who will be my partners today to join me have a Dhamma discussion today. So I would like to introduce them. The first monk is Venerable Siwon Atija Wangso. Right now he is living in Laos. And monk or Venerable Uttama, he is from Burma. Okay, so good evening all the venerables. So to all audiences, once again, if you are following us from the Facebook Live or YouTube right now, so you can join us, join this Facebook Live, by sending some compliments or give some comments to get participation to this Facebook Live. So we also opened this Facebook Live to all audiences. Ask any question to Buddhist monk as well. And every time, okay, we also set up some topic, okay, to discuss in the group, and also several questions happen in the discussion group and also come from you as an audience who are following us right now. So first of all, I would like to invite my guests to greet to all audiences first. I would like to let Prat Siwon, who going to give some short speech with our audience first. Okay.
Okay. Good evening to venerable monks and to our audiences who are listening us right now. It has been quite a while that I haven't joined Monkchat Live due to I came back to Laos and I went to participate the meditation retreat for a while. So that's why it's quite difficult to join the monk life. But today I'm very happy to be back and to join the Monkchat Live again. I think this would be the very great time that we are going to spend time together and asking about what is going on and how is your life, and as same as the Buddha's teaching as well. So we are learning together and we are helping together because we don't know that what are you facing right now, and just feel free to come and join with us and just feel free to ask any questions. Okay.
Thank you. So please, Pra Uttama, to greet to all audiences. Yes.
May I pay respect to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and may I pay respect to all following teachers, Pratiyara Nuthera. So today is actually my first day for joining Monkchat Live. So I never actually joined Monkchat Live before. So today is my actually first day, and I feel really happy to join because I think this is a like kind of new experience for me because back for before that I only have on the Monkchat. It's like the radio Monkchat. So now it's like a Monkchat Live. It's quite a little bit new experience for me, and I'm a little bit exciting. So anyway, I still feel very happy.
Okay, thank you very much. So good evening to all audiences. Monk Somporn, Niravong. Okay, so thank you for coming on time. And good evening to Pa Arun. I'm not sure, Mr. or Mrs. Rick Potts, Miss Monica, Malika. Okay, sorry. Thank you for all compliments that you have been sent to this Facebook Live. Okay, now we back to our story and what we're going to discuss today. So what you have seen in the title or the subscription on the post, we have been set up. Our topic today is mentioned to suffering is also our great teacher. Okay. It's also very interesting that how can we have view to suffering as something that we a human being hate, or we don't want those state of mind or the situation that lack of ease. So to compare our life to as a journey, okay, journey of life, okay, we also face many obstacles, right? Suffering, sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are suffer or face all different obstacles become life experience. In Buddhism, we as we know what Buddha have taught about the Four Noble Truths. The first noble truth, suffering. Okay, in order to allow human beings learn their own suffering, in order to stay or live their life among suffering, but not suffer, not to suffer. So that's very special and amazed skill for those who are able to train yourself, being able to live among your own suffering but not suffering. So we can define or we can clarify suffering in easy way to understand. In this present day, we consider that COVID-19 or this disaster could be physical suffering, okay, that harm our human beings to cause uh, live in not a comfortable condition of life. So that's why this type of suffering, we as a human beings, we know how to solve by time. We have been past different revolution of the bad disease or many difficult times in our human's life or along the history. So we learn to able to know and understand this type of kind of suffering, and every time that we're able to overcome those bad disease or those suffering or those difficulties, human beings stronger. Okay, or easy way, you can look into your own life. You also have been to get through several obstacles in your life, and because of that you are stronger, not only you physically but your wisdom, your knowledge. If you work able to work under pleasure, if you overcome those pleasure, your knowledge and your skills are developing. So that's why another view and perspective that we can view to suffering is one of the great teacher to help us become stronger, become the one who able to survive in bad condition, okay, of this world. So I open and introduce as a whole pictures like this of our Dhamma discussion or the topic that we are going to discuss today. So I would like to also hear from my partner that or monks that I have invited them here today to share different perspective that of course maybe you can share your own life experience, that you get through, like difficulties. So I would like to invite Pra Siwon to introduce some idea about how suffering teach you or teach people in the society, yes, to get to be a life lesson.
Oh, wow. It was amazing when I heard the topic. As Pra Sondavi mentioned that suffering is one of the great teacher. So when I heard about this sentence, suffering is one of the great teacher, and I start thinking, yes, it is right. Suffering is one of our great teacher, and we are all carrying the suffering in our life. When we were born, we all face some kind of suffering. That's why suffering is a part of our life. We cannot deny it. If we think back or if we consider back, since we get born and then we get old, get sick and died, we have faced this kind of suffering. We might not know that when we were younger, we feel suffer because we at that time we were enjoying our life, and we are always count on people, especially parents. That's why we didn't know much about the suffering in life. But once we grow up, we learned more, and then we face more the suffering. And this is very important that when we face suffering, and then how can we get out of the suffering? So As I heard from my master during the time that I my latest practice for a month, and we are all face the suffering. When we were born, of course, or for sure, we face the suffering in life. Even the Buddha himself, he also faced his suffering. When he was a prince and he lived in the palace, he has the luxurious life. He had all he wanted, but he still faced some kind of suffering in his life. He didn't feel satisfied with himself. This is the reason that he decided to leave the palace and ordain as a monk and stay in the forest. And when he was a monk, he also faced another kind of suffering. It doesn't mean that he became a monk and then he just enlightened. No, he faced so many obstacles before he will get uh, enlightened or to free himself from hate, greed, and delusion or this kind of suffering. So the best way to solve this kind of suffering is the first thing is we have to accept it. So how to accept it? To me, in order to accept it, we have to know what we are suffering. We are sharing some kind of suffering, whether you are lay people or as a monk, as myself. I also face some kind of suffering as well. For the general people, mostly they face the two kind of suffering. It's about the physical suffering and the mental suffering as well. So you are facing two kind of sufferings. It is double, two in one. Two in one. It means the mind and the body. You got two suffering. But as a monk, mostly we face the inner suffering or mental suffering. So it means that we are sharing the suffering with each other. And the best way to get out of the suffering is by Sontavi mentioned in the earlier that the Four Noble Truths that the Buddha had laid out. The first one is we have to know what is suffering. Suffering means to be aware that we are suffering. Once we know the suffering, then we find a way how to get out of suffering. Most people, when they face the suffering or when they feel sad, and for example, if somebody broken heart, they always sermon or they always complain that because of this guy, because of that girl, that made me broken, that made my heart broken, that made me suffering, that made me sad, that made me unhappy or unlucky, whatever. But that is already the end on the suffering. It is not the root of suffering. In order to solve the problem, the first one we have to know what is suffering. We know that we are broken, and then how to help ourselves from this suffering is to see in the root of suffering that it comes from our mind that make us unhappy. And for the suggestion, in order to get out of this suffering, is to take some time to accept it, to take some time and to join the monk's activity. It can be to practice meditation or to keep precepts and to be with a good friend who can advise you, who can stand with you and keep you to the right way. So I want to explain only this.
Okay, so Venerable Siwon point to the definition and also the guide that how can we live our own life through unsatisfactoriness or the suffering. So I would like to move on to Venerable Uttama. Okay, he also already have finished some grade of Pali, so that's why he become Pramaha in terms of like to show some level of knowledge in Buddhism or Pali language. So I would like him to share some his own experience and about the point that how suffering become our own teacher.
So, as my friends mentioned about the suffering is one of the most greatest teachers in our life. So I really believe that because I also have experience and in my life that I have faced with my own self, and finally I can overcome it. So first of all, it's about practicing meditation. I would like to say that when I practice meditation at the first time, so I feel really suffer. So that's called body suffering or physical suffering, which is happen. So because every year in university we have meditation practice activity for 10 days. So back before that, I never actually practiced meditation like 10 days. So that is the first time of mine. So when I did this meditation 10 days, at 3 days, day number 3 after practicing, I feel my body, my back, my legs, even though my shoulder get really hurt at the time. So I was just thinking that what is happening to me? It's just only 3 days passed. So why I can get really suffer on my body? So, and I try to be mindful with that feeling, suffer. So after 3 days later, 4 days, 5 days pass, everything is getting better and better. So at a time, I understand that I heard the word, if you never see the truth, if you never see the suffering, you never face the happiness. So after practicing for a while, 7 days, 8 days later, I feel like my body can adapt to my meditation. So everything feels really comfortable to practice. But at the time, only one thing that left is my mind. So my mind cannot accept to practice meditation. I have to be mindful with my mind again. So when I can be mindful with my mind, like my mind always think to go back. Sometimes struggle to find some reason that want to go back because it's feel lazy. So feeling lazy is also suffering. So at a time, I just try to practice more and more and more and more. And finally, I think I understand something which is called three characteristics in Buddhism. It's like it's impermanent. All kinds of those feelings, even though happiness, suffering that happened to me at that time, I feel like it can disappear for some time, and it happened again, but it cannot happen for like long, many hours. It happened to me for a while, and then if I have mindfulness on it, it can disappear. And I see like it happened living for a while and then it disappear. So it, and at a time, it made me feel like everything is impermanent. Everything is suffering. Suffering in this case means it's changing. And finally, it's not myself. It's not ourself. It's non-self. So what I would like to say is when you have the goal or when you have the target in your life, so you just go for it. You just don't care what the people blame to you. Maybe some people, they feel jealous to you and they want to be like you, and they say something like that make you feel unhappy or that make you feel suffer. So you just don't care about that. Everything is depends on you. If you just listening to those people, you will get slower. But if you just don't care about those, if they say the good words, you just take it. If you say the bad word, you just passing away. Don't care about this and go for it. What is your target? What is your goal? Just go for it, and finally you will get successful in your life. So this all is because of your intention, because of your because of you have responsibility to manage your life. The suffering or happiness is just sometimes obstacle. If you don't care about this, so you can go farther and farther. So I think many people have suffering, and most of them, they blame to themselves that why it happened to me, instead of finding the source of that problem or the source of that suffering. That why are you suffering? Where is that where is that suffering came from? And finally, find a way to solve it and make it clear or manage with it. And finally, you can overcome it. When you overcome it, you will get inspiration to move on your life. So when you don't have, when you never overcome it, it's really hard to get inspiration. But you can get inspiration from the other people, environment of you. But the real inspiration is came from your experience. If you can experience, if you can pass that suffering feeling, so you will have really big inspiration to move on your life. But if you cannot succeed, if you cannot overcome it, you still staying in the same place. So, however, just go for it. Whatever you have, whatever you just want to do in your life, you just go for it.
Okay, so thank you, Venerable Uttama, to mention the suffering of individuals that can develop to able to see the truth of life. He had mentioned to one of the important words or topics of Dhamma. One of the higher Dhamma in Buddhism is the three characteristics is impermanence, suffering, and non-self. So it means that suffering, as Venerable Uttama had mentioned, during you practice meditation, you can develop your feeling pain unpleasant during your first 3 days to develop your power of concentration and mindfulness to able to support you and allow you to meditate longer. So it's mean that it teach you slowly. It teach you to have more patience. First 3 days you can sit only 30 minutes, but after that he said that he can prolong his sitting meditation to 1 hour to 2 hours. So it means that those suffering teach him to observe more and more, observe it again and again until he can get through some of physical suffering. So he have mentioned to suffering individual person. So next, I also want to expand the definition of suffering to bigger picture. Okay. So anyway, thank you for all comments from Mr. Bunma, Miss. I don't know what's her name. Huang, Phương.
Phuong Tran, I think.
Huang.
Phuong Tran.
Yes. I'm sorry. We are sorry that we read your name incorrectly. And from Monk Freedom, Venerable, all of you. So I would like to inform to all audiences who are following right now, you are allowed to write any comments, write question, okay, to this Monkchat Facebook Live. Okay, so we will have real-time interaction to each other. We can question and answer. Okay, we have 3 months here, so we will be together around 1 hour 15 to 30 minutes. Okay, so my intention to point to this word suffering can be a life lesson to ourselves to move on more stronger, more skillful. In this present day, we look around the world. We look outside through around the world. Okay, right now we cause physical suffering, right? So people in the society also have to learn to adjust. Is it right? We have to adjust. This present day, we got new word, new normal. That means that people in the society adjust themselves in order to develop. Because of what? Because of suffering that because from the bad disease cause human beings develop them different knowledge to apply to survive. This is one of the great things that human have, is the skill to survive. Okay, so we learn, okay, social distancing, and we are doing the investigation to get vaccinated. So that's all about the knowledge that we gain during we caused by this bad disease, COVID-19. So it's a great teachers to teach us to apply technologies. Right now we use remote session to get all monks together and provide Dhamma discussion. So it means that we also adjust and learned to develop from the own way to teach Dhamma to new medium. Okay, use new medium. For mental, okay, for the mental part, Venerable Buddhadasa, he gave a definition, the word suffering, as in the the mental, for the mental unsatisfactoriness. Okay, that's more proper word to describe the state of mind, that lack of ease. Okay, I hope all of you understand this specific term, unsatisfactoriness. Okay, maybe I can show you unsatisfactoriness. Yes. So the state that our mind lack of ease is when we feel unpleasant, unhappy, sad, lamentation. So those feeling are mental suffering. And Venerable Uttama, Venerable Siwon also explained this, that we can develop our mind to skillful through the meditation practice, samatha meditation practice, or vipassana meditation practice. So that's mean the two main kind of suffering that we can develop them to teach our life. Okay, so one thing that I want to give you an example that how suffering is a great teacher. So we can observe for some, okay, not every kid, that they was born in unsupported environment or in unprivileged. Okay, some of them, they stronger than some people who was born or grow up in the city, which is surrounded by all good facilities and convenient things that let them, freedom to get access to all of things, especially learning tools. What else? So those people have all this, but sometimes have a different the power or aspiration are different, because for those who born in environment that are not support, they tend to be more stronger. So if you are not agree, it's okay, but what we have been observed, some that I have been experienced with them, they are so strong, they have so many skills because of their life living, have to own those skills to survive. Okay, so that's why this we can point that suffering is our great teacher to teach and give us many skills to live in able to live in different situation. Yeah. So Venerable Uttama, you have any suggestion or point of view to share to our audiences?
So for the mental suffering, mental suffering is, I think, in nowadays, the people are more having mental suffering than the physical suffering, especially the people who are living in the city, like the big city, capital, something like that. Because those people, they have everything ready for them. They have the place to live, they have the clothes to wear, they have everything comfortable. But some of them, they still have a problem, which is a mental problem. I mean, some people, they have not enough, or some people, they might compare themselves to the other people. They might compare themselves to the others. For example, I have a car. For example, if I have a car which I bought it 3 or 4 years ago, and today I saw one of my friends, one of my how to say um, the person the person who are my friends or the person who I know. So they buy a new one and they buy a new car, and then I feel like, oh, my car is getting a little bit older than you. So you have a new car, or you have a new phone, you have a new house, you have a beautiful wife or something like that. So I might feel like I want the same like you. I want to have a beautiful car or a new car like you. So in the reality, I have one already because of my mind feel not enough. Uh, if you ask about the necessary, is it necessary to have a new car during you have one already? I think it doesn't actually necessary to you to buy a new car. But you want a new car because of your friends buy a new car. Uh, and that's why you feel the great happening to you. So when this great happening to you, you feel you will feel like you always want, you always want. This your desire is get developed up and up, and then you feel like if you don't get like this, you will never feel happy, and you always feel suffer. And finally, for example, you get that thing. For example, you get a new car, you buy a new car, and then you feel really happy with it. So, but you can only be with it for a while. 1-2 years later, you feel bored with it. Or during you live with that car, during you have that car, maybe you might have to be worried because of someone will steal from you, because of someone might want, and they might come to kill you and take your car away, something like that. So, so this kind of mental problem is always happen to us all of the time. So this is really big problem which we have to see, which we have to immediately solve this problem. Otherwise, it will more develop. So finally, we can't manage it. And the second thing is when you want, and then you can't get, as Tan Sontavi just mentioned, um, unsatis, how to say, uh, unsatisfactory, unsatisfactory. So when you want something and you cannot get that thing, that is suffering. It's not physical suffering, but it's mental suffering. It's suffering from your mind, from your desire, because of you can't get what you want, something like that. It might be the girlfriend, money, car, um, house, uh, sys- uh, many things that want to have, and finally you can't have. That is suffering. So even though sometimes you don't want, but you get it. For example, you don't want to live with this group of the people, with this group of people who are working with you, but you have to live with them. That is also suffering. Suffering came from environment of you. So um, the problem is because of you are not know because of you don't know how to manage yourself with those environment people. If you can manage yourself, if you can develop yourself, make yourself to be able to live with those kind of people who are working with you improperly. So however, you can be very happy, I think. So that is kind of really big problem. And the second one is anger. Anger is also can be suffering. So the Buddha compared the anger to the fire. He said that if you get angry, immediately you have to make it disappear. Otherwise, it will burn uh, everything from you. For example, uh, someone might say something like say some bad word to you, and then you feel really angry with that person. You feel like, oh, I don't like this person. If you don't have mindfulness at a time, if you don't know that yourself are getting angry at a time, maybe you might fight with that person. In front of you, maybe have a wood, maybe have a stone, maybe a knife or anything else. Maybe you can use those things to kill that person, who make you angry. And finally, what happened? You have to live in the present for whole of your life. Do you think that is worth that you let the anger happen to your mind only 1 or 2 minutes, and then you have killed someone already, and now you have to live in the present for whole of your life? It doesn't work. But if you can know yourself, if you can see that anger is happening to you, so you have to immediately make it disappear. So those uh, uh, so you have no need to live in the present. That's my point. So, and that's why the anger is compared as a fire. If anger happens, you have to make it disappear immediately. And the last one is delusion. So delusion is also can be suffering. So anyway, I think you guys might get something from my speech. I hope. Anyway, thank you so much.
Yes, very nice, very nice. To point different, we call the natures of mind, anger, unsatisfactoriness, which when we are surrounded by unwanted situation, those delusion. So that's we call our own cravings or original defilements. That we can learn to have a skill to live with those things, those cravings. For example, Venerable Uttama have mentioned to different ways to learn to accept. So very important to point to the way to practice. Okay, because that will leading to a practice. So that's why Buddhism, what all the teaching that Buddha have enlightened, not only part of understanding, but must be leading to practical. So Venerable Sivon might have some idea that you can guide people more about the this kind of like suffering. Yes.
Well, what you guys just mentioned is very clear for the topic that we have been talking so far. For example, the word unsatisfactoriness is about the mental mind, and the suffering from outside mostly comes from the ha phassa or five senses. It conforms our eyes by seeing. It conforms our ear by listening. When we heard the word that we don't like it, and then we feel unhappy, or we feel didn't like it, and then the anger arose, and it conforms the smell When we heard the good smell, then we feel happy, like a perfume, good perfume or bad perfume. If we feel the bad perfume, and then we feel unhappy. And when we taste good food, then we feel happy. And when we taste bad food or terrible food, and then we feel unhappy. So this thing is very normal for the human being, because we don't have the right understanding about this kind of suffering, because we just live by it since we was born, and we just think that, oh, this is just a normal thing. But in actually, or for the people who have been studied the Buddha's teaching, we understand that this kind of tunnels, or this kind of things are how the kilesa or desire come to our mind. So I would like to add the 8 Lokathampet, or from what I understand, or I'm trying to translate in English, is the reality of life that we faces. And once we faces, we have to know that everything is not impermanent. Everything is not permanent. It's just the temporary, that it just happens and goes. So the first one is happy. Once we're happy, and then we get unhappy as well. And the third one, when we get rich, and one day the money will gone as well, or declined. And the next one, when we get honor from the people, and then one day it will goes as well. This honor, and the next one, when we get praise from somebody, we feel happy. And once we get complaint from somebody, we also feel unhappy. So I want to the people who are listening us right now to try to understand that whatever that is happening in our life, it's just the temporary. Nothing is impermanent. Even our physical body, our happiness, our sadness, or our merit. Oh no, not our merit. Merit just another way. Or even your business as well, or even the COVID-19. One day it will go away. This is just the reality, or to teach us that we have to accept the truth, and we have to come back and consider ourselves how to move on, how to take over this kind of uncertain things, or this kind of uncertain world. And for my last suggestion is to make sure that you have you love yourself more, you care more people who are you care more surrounded people, your families, your friends, or your daughter or your sons. Please care them more, because we don't know that how long we'll be in this world. And if we don't want to feel regretful, we have to make sure that we are doing the best today, and we just do what we really want to do, but it must be in the right way or right understanding, as avoiding bad actions, do good deeds or increase good actions, and purify your mind by the meditation. Because if we help you a lot with your mental suffering. Okay.
Okay. So we will move on, okay, to different aspect from this topic. Why suffering is our great teacher. So I give you a summarize that why. Okay. So suffering help to remind us, okay, not to uh, do over delude or uh, dual. Okay, it means that follow something until you have blind, you know, especially the power of convenience or even happiness. It reminds us not to heedlessful. It means lack of mindfulness. Whenever we have suffering, we will have, of course, it press, or cause us feel unsatisfactory. So we will at that time awake, at that moment suffering remind you to awake. And the second one is suffering teach us learn how to work, learn how to live under pleasure. When we cause from all suffering, okay, physical suffering or mental suffering, and then form the process of the meditation or any techniques that allow you to strengthen your mental power to able to hold on or keep doing whatever your duties under that difficulties. You will have a skills to work or take under pleasure. And the third is also allow you not to delude or indulge. This is quite difficult word. Indulge. It's you. What I have told you earlier, that you you just follow something that you blindly, okay, cause from the dignities or happiness or praising that Venerable Sipon also have mentioned that praise or praising also have two sides. If we follow that too much, it will cause us to suffering as well. So that's why whenever we cause suffering, we will awake from this. We will not like heedfulness. Okay, we will awake and mindful and live your life based on awakening awareness. Okay, so this is some summarize that we get from this topic. So we move on to our next session to answer some question from the audience. Okay, so we got some question already. Okay, I will show on the screen so everyone can read and get to know together. So this question from Nang Ongkam, she always participate our Monkchat Facebook Live, and all the questions are amazing and very useful. So she asked that during COVID-19 seriously spreading, What's your opinion on the people who catch the disease can overcome the suffering by the Dhamma? This is so important topic because many countries, especially in Europe, America, are increasing, and the situation of the COVID-19 in Thailand also um, in a still in a low level, but still very dangerous. So that's why very important to apply the Dhamma. Buddhism is the foundation of life living of the people here. So how can they apply the teaching of the Buddha to strengthen their mental, not to suffer too much, who catch the disease. So for the physical, of course, at that moment we catch the disease, right? COVID-19. So it might cause your lung problem, your lung, or what we have learned that it cause problem to your lung and your breath. So physically, we have to follow the instruction, of the doctor. That's what we can do because we are under take care of all the doctors and nurses. So physically, we have to obey all the instruction of the doctor to cure and treat your body. But more than that, it's our mentally. The first minute that we have heard that you cause COVID-19, you go so worried, not just only your life, your health, but this serious disease, it spread to people around you easily. So that's why you also worried that what you have been for several days. So that's why we have to tell all the timelines that you to the police, or the doctor, so they will know that what you have been. So mental quality, of course, everyone are weak. The first moment that you even, I never, but I can assume that everyone will be weak and this is gonna be very bad thing that I caused in my life. So your mental quality are weak, and it also will cause another disease, like your mental disease. You will not happy during the treatment process. So the Dhamma of the Buddha to apply to this is, of course, meditation practice. How to keep calm your mind, calm down first. Okay. Sometimes you just overthinking. Overthinking we call the mental formation. That's all humans have this, to form all the things that when we contact to the worldly phenomena. For example, we experience some bad situation or circumstances, and we form that, this is going to be very dangerous, and you are so stressed because of what? You just overthinking. So strengthen your mind. Okay, calm down, self-control. That's can be help those persons self-control to calm down first. Okay, you when you calm down, of course you will have hope. You will have belief on the techniques or the knowledge that doctor will apply to your treatment. So that could be change your mindset, change your view to feel will be optimistic or in the positive way. So calm down. After that, when your mindfulness arise, awake, okay, you will know what to do, and you will able to stay in the present moment. And this is what you can learn from your own suffering at that moment to strengthen your life to be stronger. Not, of course, you mentally will very more like stronger. So that's my point of view. So I would like to hand over to another monks to share some of your answer, that how this gonna be how the Dhamma gonna be assist to people who catch disease to self-control, moderate their physically and mentally. Yes, briefly.
Okay. I personally, I totally agree with Swantavee, how he talk about the way to overcome this kind of suffering or to overcome the COVID-19. I would like to review it once again. So as Swantavee mentioned, that the first one is we have to follow the instruction of the doctor. This is how the process take. As at the moment we are having the COVID-19 vaccine, so it will help you about the physical suffering. And as the inner suffering, yes, of course, you have to know how to calm yourself by the meditation. So what I would like to add more is you have to know how to encourage yourself to get through this kind of suffering or to break through it. This has come from my teacher, even the monk as well. When we face some kind of suffering, we also use the Dhamma or the Buddha's teaching to talk to ourselves or self-talking. We talk whatever in order to stop this kind of suffering. For example, in the situation of catching COVID-19, is we have to encourage ourselves that one day it it will one day I will take over it, or it shall pass. And the more important is the surrounding people as families or sons or whatever. You have to stay alongside with him or her, because this is the most suffering that people scare of. So do you know that what is the most scary of people is the death, death, is the death or ความตาย This is the most scare of people. Nobody wants to death. Even the one that who is going to live with the God. This is the sentence from Steve Jobs. That I'm trying to translate how he mean it. So we have to do whatever in order to pass this. And the most important is know how to calm your mind by the meditation. You just be aware of your breathing in and breathing out, or rising, falling, on the stomach. And the last suggestion is try to consume yourself by the preaching of the Buddha or the preaching of the monk, because this kind of preaching, this kind of sermon will help you to calm yourself. If you don't believe me, you can compare the Buddha's teaching or the monk preaching or the monk giving sermon and listening to the music. You just say that your mind is different when you listen to the music and when you listen to the Buddha teaching. Why is that? Because the Buddha teach people to free from suffering, to make your mind purer. And when you listen to music, you feel entertainment, you feel happy, or sometimes you feel sad. It depends upon your situation, what happened with you at that time. You just follow your senses or your feeling. But in Buddhism, we just know our feeling, what we are feeling right now. So this is what I want to give for the suggestions for people who is whether in the COVID-19 situation or whether in the suffering situation or you are in different kind of suffering. Peace, peace, stay strong. Peace, encourage yourself that it shall pass. Thank you.
Okay, very nice to suggest several ways to accelerate and develop people who, in case that people who get the COVID. So I also want to show this comments from Annie Davis. She also have mentioned that meditation and the Eightfold Path has helped more in the treatment of my mental illness than any doctor. So everything he is saying is so true for me. So what we have been discussed about the technique of meditation to come first, to develop our mental quality, not to suffer or overthinking, able to maintain ourselves in the present moment. Okay, so thank you for all comments. I will try to move to several comments to acknowledge and read. From Jennifer Taylor, she said that my daughter's father's passed in April. He was Buddhist from Laos. Oh, okay. Thank you for comments. She want to. Okay, so I'm very sorry to hear that. That she already passed away. Okay. Okay, so thank you for sharing something, sharing your moment of your life. Okay. We hope everyone stays strong and we will get through this crisis together. Okay. We provide this Monkchat online. Okay. Our intention to spread some teaching of the Buddha through the voice of monk, especially our young monk, young generation, to know how to use this kind of technologies and get to people from all over the world So that's why we made this happen, and that's why we able to see everyone in the comments that different people from different countries and able to access to this Facebook Live. So for our Monkchat Facebook Live today, okay, we will come to the end very soon. Last and final, I also let Prautama to say last speech, okay, before we have short summarize, and then we will finish this Facebook Live. Yes.
So anyway, so the person or the people who ever practice meditation, or the person who catch by the COVID-19 and then they can overcome it by the Dhamma, encourage you more to practice the teaching of the Buddha, encourage you to practice more the meditation, whatever you have done in the past that make you feel good, that make you can overcome the bad feeling, the suffering, whatever. So I really encourage you to do that more, because it can, I think and I believe that it can make your life and better. So I really feel amazed for the question that the people, one of the viewer just asking. I really feel amazed for the people who can overcome the catching of the COVID-19 to them, that they can overcome it because not so much or not many people have a very strong mind that can overcome the bad feeling, especially in these days during the COVID-19. So, however, I really recommend you to practice meditation more and more. And I really believe that meditation can help your life better, and everything is going to be more good in your life. So if you continue to do the good thing that you have done in the past, and so however, today I have talked a lot. Thank you for all of you who listening the Monkchat live in the present now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your last speech. We got a last and final question. Oh, sorry, we got another. From Mang Sompon, he said that I think COVID-19 is very terrible. I need to use the mask, but nobody use in my temple, and how to do. Okay, so this thing is, very also individual, that how serious the circumstances or the situation of the spreading COVID over there that made people lack of awareness. They might be think that it's not serious yet, and then they won't follow that. But according to Sila, could be cover this as well. It's also part of new normal practice, that whenever we go, we have to being aware of all this practice. Wear mask, respect, social distancing. So all these are part of sila, or the rules or the disciplines, whatever we want to use to let people want to follow some practicing. Okay, so shall we move to the next comments? What is the most important thing that we have to do and follow to be Buddhism or Buddhist, to be a Buddhist in actually? So it's there are several ways. Okay, the first way, by traditional way. Okay, for the traditional way, of course, you have to take refuge. Take refuge means to have a strong confidence to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. The Buddha, it doesn't mean to the statues of the Buddha, but due confidence to all the teaching, the enlightenment, the power of enlightenment of the Buddha, that all those teaching that Buddha have discovered and taught to human beings are really the way to leading us to get away from the suffering or to overcome the suffering. The Dhamma also have a confidence to all the teaching that you have learned. You have a confidence to practice the way, or the map that you have learned, in order to you will be have a strong sattha, strong practice, and confidence to the person who guide you. That's called Sangha, guide, who have a suggestion. Okay, this is by the traditional way. Okay, or part of the 5 precepts. That is the basic practice for Buddhists, or even are not Buddhist. This should be keep in mind to all people for these 5. We call the 5 moral training that everyone deserve to practice this, to be well-being in that society. Okay, to keep balance your own benefit and other benefit. Okay, so this is by traditional way. Or some people they also don't want to identify themselves that I'm Buddhist, but they practice Buddhist way. Some of the mental training, like meditation practice. So every day they also recollect about something they have been doing, feel grateful, feel appreciated, to make their life to be easy life and happy life, and also have mentioned to like respectful to all's being. It's part of 5 precepts, but in a different term. This is not a traditional way. So the most important thing that we have to do to be a Buddhist is focusing on moral, that know your duties, know human beings' duties, that we got this life not for harming others, but to use this body and mind to develop as a physically. We have to apply this physical and power of our body to keep develop your life living, to have enough food to eat, enough shelters, enough clothing, to avoid from suffering, basic suffering, and mentally you train to expand, because the original, or all human beings have greed and all the defilement that want to take only for yourself. But when you take some practice in Buddhist, like 5 precepts, you will more expand this kindness, compassion, good behavior to the societies, and these will be a basic principle practice to be a Buddhist. Okay, that's some suggestion that we can provide you. Okay, so Pra Siwon, Pra Uttama, would you like to give a short guiding for this question?
So, being a Buddhist, it doesn't no need to do anything much. When you can follow the 5 precepts, abstain from killing, abstain from stealing, abstain from having sex relationship with the other people who are not your girlfriend or boyfriend, your husband or your wife or something like that. Abstain from speaking a lie, and abstain from drinking or eating some toxic, something that can make you lose your mindfulness. So if you can keep 5 precepts, it means you can be a Buddhist. Actually, this 5 precept is not just only for the Buddhist people. Everyone in the world should practice, I think, because it's the most common thing that we have to keep in our mind. So if you can keep this, and that means you can be a Buddhist, and you can because being a Buddhist or to practice meditation or something like that, you especially to practice meditation, you have no need to be a Buddhist. You can practice, but if you can keep 5 precepts, it might be better. Yeah.
All right. So I think that we get through all the comments, and I think it's a good time and suitable time that we will end this Facebook Live. Okay, we run this Facebook Live weekly, so don't worry that you don't have a question this time, so you can prepare more question to meet us in the next Facebook Live, and you can ask to those questions to Buddhist monk. Okay, finally, I would like to say thank yous to all audiences, and more important that our guest speaker, Venerable Siwon, Venerable Uttama, to make this Facebook Live more meaningful, be helping each other to give an idea and answer all the questions. So I hopefully that this sharing will be some beneficial for you, at least develop your understanding of Buddhist practice. And finally, we would like to give blessing to all of you, and we will go to bed and wish all of you to be happy and secure together. So finally, we will keep in Pali language. Okay, especially we will also spreading loving kindness, compassion to all people who catch the COVID-19 and wish them to recovery from those bad diseases as soon as quickly as they can. Okay, so I would like to invite uh, two of you, okay, three of us to give blessing together and the metta to all living beings. Sapitiyo viwansantu
Santu
sapparo
saparom
vinasantu
ko vina
mate
satumate pavatuantarayo
bhavanayo sukhi kayo
sukiti kayukom
Bhava
pavapivan
Vipatana Sire Sanija
Tanasi
Buddha
sanijang
Pajanino
buddha pacayino
Yataro Dhamma
cataro
Vatanti
dhamma vatanti ayuwano
Ayuvanyo
sukhang
uh,
palang.
Okay, so I, on behalf of all monks, wish all of you to be happy and secure, free from all the bad thing and bad deeds, and wish all of you to stay strong and stay away from the COVID-19. Good night, everyone, and good evening or good afternoon to different people in a different time zone. Okay.